What's up everyone, it's Greg and Kendall here. We are baling alfalfa today.
And we're going to teach you how to make a great bale. When it comes to making a great alfalfa bale, the trick is to get the stems dry enough so they don't hold moisture inside the bale, but to have the leaves not be too crispy so that they blow away while you're baling or moving it in any other way. So it's about the perfect time of day for this field. This windrow was two 14-foot swaths merged into one, and so the wind has kind of gotten underneath it. You want the moisture to be very consistent throughout the windrow, and then you line the tractor up and you weave back and forth between the left side of the windrow and the right side of the windrow so that it feeds into the baler evenly. It's round on one side but then square across the top, so it's the same density, the same moisture throughout. So I'm gonna hop in and we'll make a bale and then we'll talk about it. I really like this monitor. There's several different settings on it that you can use. This 30% button does not mean that it's 30% moisture on the crop, but it allows you to have 3 different crop settings. So if you want to save one setting for alfalfa, one setting for straw, you can just switch back and forth without changing the compression or the number of wraps. Anytime you want to go back, you just select with these arrows, move around with these arrows. So I can go between bale size to net wraps to home to density, all very easily, and then get back to my baling screen, and I can count bales on different fields by using the counter. I enjoyed learning how to run it. It took me just a few bales to figure it out, and now I've changed net wraps several times and done several hundred bales. I got a dirty window, and I'm enjoying running this baler. There are several things to watch on the monitor. That's the size of the bale. That's how many wraps go on the bale. My PTO is running. Here you can see that the monitor wants me to drive on the right side of the windrow to fill the other side of the bale chamber. And then once I fill that side, it will switch. And it says it's making more of a barrel size. And now it tells me to drive on the right side. So that's how the monitor helps you make an even bale.
So making a great bale starts with swathing the alfalfa. Obviously this field has already been swathed and raked, and we're on the 3rd step. But you want to swath the alfalfa right when it's about in bloom, and then you want to rake it right when it's starting to dry down, getting close to being ready to bale. Raking the hay basically flips it over, and it allows it to dry on the bottom side, whereas it's been drying on the top side facing the sun, and it merges the 2 rows together, so you can basically bale twice as much at a time.
There you can see the hay feed even into the bale chamber, and how well this baler picks up everything on the ground. That beep you heard was the beep telling me that my bale is formed at 90% of its size. So that tells me that I need to kind of keep an eye on it, so maybe slow down and be prepared to stop so that it can wrap the bale. It is now telling me how many wraps that it's putting around the bale. Alfalfa just needs 2.5 wraps, which is less than other crops, and that it's good to kick out. There's a great benefit to having more dense bales. It's less bales to move. And so with each different type of crop, I can go in here and change this button here. And that's how many pounds per square inch are in the outer third of the bale, which is where the majority of the hay will be, the middle third, and then the core. And the outside of the bale, it can put the most pressure on to get denser storage. You can see there's the dimensions. And then the inside of the bale, you don't want wrapped too tight because you could get it kind of misshapen right off the bat, so you want it to be a nice round shape, and then you turn up the density as it moves further out on the bale. Now we can go back there and look at how dense this bale is and see what this monitor ends up being in real time. So here you can see the density would just change. This would be the core, the middle third, and the outer third. And the outer third, you don't want it to be very loose, but it's nice to be able to get, reach in a little bit just so the spikes can spear into it and move it around. The more hay you can fit into one 70-inch bale, the less time you're going to spend moving around bales, and there's less storage loss because the majority of your hay is in the outer part of the bale. And so if water can get into the outside of the bale and everything, or if it's not a densely made bale, water will be able to saturate through. So the denser the bale, the better. So this alfalfa wraps together really well. Straw is kind of a different beast because it's a hollow stem, and we want it wrapped pretty much as tightly as it can go. So I turn up the density on that monitor all the way, and I make it as tightly wound as I can. But because of that, it means I have to turn up the net wraps, because if I'd only wrapped it around 2 times with straw, it may, after it sets for a little while or when you're trying to move it, it may burst open. So I turn the wraps up on that to about 3.5 to 4, and that allows it to hold in all the straw. You don't have to worry about it bursting when moving. So you manage all the settings depending on what crop you're harvesting, the moisture settings of it. You wouldn't want to wrap a kind of a wet bale too tightly because there would be more fire hazard. If you're baling up really wet hay for some reason over 20%, you wouldn't want to set your density so tight.
See how he weaves back and forth? So here in Kansas, sometimes we have to bale at night because that's the only time that it's humid enough to bale. But thankfully today was a humid day, so we were able to actually bale during the middle of the day today. So we're getting this field done before it gets dark. The last cutting, we baled entirely at night because it was so hot and dry during the day that we had to wait until night for it to at least get a little bit of humidity. You want a little bit of humidity, but not too much humidity. You want just the right amount. Well, folks, we love this Kubota baler, and it's been a good baler for us so far. But even if you have a great baler, if you don't manage the settings and the variables correctly, you can still end up with a poor bale. So we hope that you've learned a little bit about how to make a great bale. Thanks, Kendall, for doing all of your explaining. Yep. And we're going to finish picking up the bales on this field because Kendall just finished baling it. Yep. So thanks for watching, guys.